Welcome to Gear Tasting Radio, brought to you by Imminent Threat Solutions. Imminent Threat Solutions provides knowledge and gear that helps empower individuals with indispensable skill sets to explore their world and prevail against all threats. www.imminentthreatsolutions.com or www.itstactical.com. All right, so let's kick off the first episode of Gear Tracing Radio, where we offer an in-depth look into the usage and philosophy behind the equipment in our lives. My name's Brian Black, and I'm joined with Rob Henderson.
Hello.
We are from Imminent Threat Solutions. You might have heard of a little company called ITS Tactical out there. We are here to start off our Gear Tasting Radio.
Yep.
And the way that this evolved was from our Gear Tasting series that we do on YouTube. So in there, we kind of talk about what we're up to and currently evaluating at ITS. We write a lot of content geared around gear reviews and other topics and skill set information. So this is our way of kind of getting more in-depth with those subjects that we talk about. I've been known to be a little long-winded on the videos, so this is our attempt to kind of offer up that material without compromising the video quality of gear
you
tasting.
get some nice, silky smooth audio.
Yeah. And we're seasoned pros at the whole podcast game. We've got
Right.
the Ridiculous Dialogue podcast that we've had for a little over, well, almost 2 years now.
yeah.
So we'll have to kind of scale back some of our witty humor and
Temper it.
foul mouths that we typically have on Ridiculous Dialogue.
Make it a little more safe for work.
Yep. That's what we're trying to do with this. So today we wanted to talk about why you should rethink your EDC. So EDC is the big topic for this podcast, and there's a lot of negativity that floats around out there about EDC and what you should carry, and everyone's got opinions, and frankly, just discount them. I mean, even what we say, these are only our suggestions for what we carry and why it works for us, but everybody's different. Everybody has what they want to carry on a daily basis and how they think that they are going to respond to situations. So that's really the important take-home.
And there's no
of all
hate
this.
for anything you carry.
Exactly.
If you carry something different, cool. You know?
Yeah,
Different's
and,
okay.
and our hope is that we can just offer suggestions of why we carry what we carry, so maybe that kind of plays into what you have for your philosophy, and maybe we can kind of help not necessarily sway you in a different way, but at least expand your way of thinking about EDC or everyday carry.
And let us know in the comments if you have different ideas or, hey, you didn't talk about this or something
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah, so we always value input, and anything you guys can provide will kind of help make this podcast better. So really, I wanted to not only talk about what we carry on a regular basis and what's in our pockets, we will get into that, but I really want to first hit some topical categories for EDC, which I think there are ways of kind of combining these different items we carry in our pockets into distinct categories, so that's what I'd like to go into. First off, I think defense is kind of a big highlighted topic. We've got medical, admin or administrative tools, and then also survival. So those are kind of what we distilled from the items we carry on a regular
Fitting
basis.
everything into a category
Exactly.
of what you would use it for.
So EDC, or everyday carry, the way that I think of this is that these are things that are in my pockets to help me through my daily life and hopefully leave me better prepared to handle any situation that might come my way. That's kind of my way of defining EDC, I guess, as a whole. So to kind of kick it off, let's kind of work through those categories. So the first, being defense, the way I look at that is that it's a firearm. If you are licensed and can legally carry a firearm where you live, I'm a strong believer in carrying concealed, even versus open carry. We recently got open carry here in Texas. That's where our podcast is from. Deep in the heart of Arlington, Texas is where we're at. So yeah, we recently got open carry, and that's been a little bit of a subject of controversy when it first came out. Everyone was scared that it's going to turn into the Old West.
Blood in the streets.
Yeah, everyone's going to shoot up the Starbucks.
Yep.
So that's what we've kind of been dealing with. And honestly, I don't know about you, Rob, but I haven't seen hardly anyone that open carries.
I've seen a couple people out and about, and it's always kind of a shock to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, because we had so many years where we weren't able to, so it's kind of still a shocker to see, like, I didn't know that was a thing. But
every time I see it, I think, that guy must be no, he's not a cop.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what runs through everybody's mind.
Right.
I think it's good that we have it.
Yep.
the ability. But like you said, I'm pro concealed.
And recent, it's been, what, 6 months maybe since we've had that?
Yeah, I think well, now I don't know, July or something
Yeah.
around there. Yeah.
So not too long at all. But, I mean, I'm just a big advocate of, having a gun and being able to protect myself and my family and those around me if I choose to. So I don't necessarily think that every situation or every problem has a gun solution.
Right.
I just like having the ability to protect
in
myself
case.
with that. Yep.
Rather have it and not need it.
Exactly. Which is the philosophy behind EDC.
Pretty
And
much
you can,
everything
and
in
you
the
can
EDC.
get you can get super crazy with that too. It's like, I don't know, I might need a machete.
Right.
I'm gonna
Well, and I
carry
think
one in my belt.
Everybody has the line of paranoia that they
Yes,
draw. And so
exactly.
you'll see people that carry a backup gun. Like I don't particularly carry a backup gun because I have a line drawn of like, well, I don't believe I'll need that. And so everybody's line is a little different. That's where I see a lot of the negativity on forum posts and stuff comes from is, why would you need that? It's like, look, if they have a way to carry it and they're
Yeah.
comfortable carrying it, more power
And
to
that
you,
really
man.
is what it is. It's the comfort level of the individual. So I like to carry quite a few things for what I have on, meaning usually a pair of jeans or, I have a very limited number of pockets. I don't.
The pockets of doom.
Yeah, I don't. We'll get into your pocket of doom, by the way. So I don't really have cargo pockets on most of what I carry. And, this being Texas, I don't have a jacket on the majority of the time. So I don't depend on a jacket or something to carry, extra stuff on me.
Yep.
I think, and I'll get into that as we kind of progress along. But I would also lump in a knife with defense. I do not use my knife to open boxes. Unlike most people, I used to be guilty of that too until I kind of saw the light. I went to a class with Jeff Gonzalez, who's a good friend of mine. He really preached that he does not use his defensive knife, and he calls it a defensive knife, to open boxes and things like that because it dulls the blade. And by the time, or if you're in a situation where you really need the sharpness of the blade and you don't have it because it's filled up with tape gunk from cutting boxes,
Cardboard fragments.
and it was a good philosophy. I saw the reasoning behind those, and it just kind of made a light bulb go off. I was like, oh yeah.
Well, and it comes back
makes
to
sense.
you rethought of the way that you carried a knife.
Correct.
And so did you add a defensive knife?
So I added a box cutter.
Okay.
So I have a small box cutter that I use for that purpose, and it just takes replacement. What do you call them? Utility blades.
Yeah, just
so I can
cheap
get
little
those in any
blades.
hardware store. And what's great is I could, if I'm somewhere where I can't even carry a knife, I could take that with me and hopefully buy utility blades there.
A little more
at least have
inconspicuous
something.
too in your pockets. It's just kind of a tool at that point.
And, we'll get into the scale of EDC too, because I think there is some scaling that happens naturally with people. Like if I have to dress up in a monkey suit, I'm not going to have certain things on me. And
Or if you're going swimming,
Right.
you can only carry so much.
yes, exactly. We roll it up in your towel.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we move on to medical, which we're very big proponents here at ITS with medical kits. We, manufacture our own boo-boo kits and trauma kits. So that's really big in terms of, I guess, the overarching goal of EDC is I want to not only be prepared to take a life, but I also want to be prepared to save a life. And I think the majority of times that you would run into situations, you're more than likely going to have to save a life rather than take one. So
I mean, how many times have you seen car accidents?
Sure,
Versus
exactly.
how many times have you seen a shooting?
Exactly.
You're not.
Yeah, and that's the philosophy behind that is I think that in most people's normal everyday lives, they're, whether your mode of transportation is public transportation or whether you're in your own vehicle, you're more than likely to run across a situation like that. And that being said, there is a place for trauma kits for things like that. But then I like to say you're more than likely going to need a Band-Aid rather than a pack of combat gauze. So
I find myself getting Band-Aids out all the time.
Exactly. And you know me, my hands are always screwed up from something.
Come in with a new scar or
My hands are
something.
magnets for cuts and
Just
bruises
do, you
for
don't
some
think.
reason.
Just get in there.
I don't really wear gloves, so
Yeah.
there's that. Anyway, medical trauma kit, even if it's just a tourniquet, like just carrying a tourniquet on you is huge too. And we'll get into that a little bit too, but I just wanted to address kind of the overall concepts or overall categories. So there's admin as well, and this can constitute, a pen, a notepad. I would lump a wallet in with that, keys, maybe even your watch or your belt, sunglasses.
Stuff that you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, tedious things.
Yeah.
Writing, note taking, anything like that.
I'm a big note taker, so I always have a notepad on me and a pen and those are kind of staples for me. I always have to have that.
Well, and if the phone's not charged or you rely on a internet connection to do notes and stuff, sometimes pen and paper is just way easier to jot it down for later.
But I use my iPhone quite a bit for note taking too, and it's part of my rituals to take those notes off my phone later.
Clear them out.
Yeah. Which, we can talk in a future episode about.
That's a great one. Yeah.
About some GTD principles.
Yeah, the whole organization front.
And then you have tools, so things like a flashlight or a lighter. My box opener would probably fall under this category since my knife is a defensive tool. I would lump that under defense. Also, lock picks. We're huge advocates of lock picking as a skill set here on ITS, so we'll get into that in a future episode of Gear Tasting as well.
Yep.
I truly believe that through lock picking, you not only learn about locks themselves, so you can better protect your home and your family with knowing that, hey, if I upgraded these security locks, there is an inherent benefit in there.
People trust their deadbolt way too much.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we'll talk all about that in Gear Tasting. And then I put my phone in this category too with tools. I would lump that in with that.
Well, the stuff it can do nowadays is just increasing. I mean, it's a camera. I mean, some of them have a built-in level, and I mean, you can start to use it for way more tool functions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good category.
And then I hesitate to say survival as a category, but I think that it can be thrown in there, especially with what's in your pockets. And you could put some of the things we even put into other categories just a second ago into this. I
think a lot of them shift
category.
If a survival situation were to come up.
Correct.
Having a good knife is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, having a good knife makes a huge difference. I mean, having a flashlight would be survival in certain situations. Hell, I mean, not really that you can do it much anymore unless you just totally bash your phone apart. But you used to be able to take the battery out of phones.
Yep.
I mean, I know some phones still do that, but you could use that in a piece of steel wool and start a fire if you had to. So there's lots of things like that could be dual purpose. So, the whole 2 is 1, 1 is none type
and everything
philosophy.
has a purpose for being there.
Exactly. And then, in survival, I would lump in, a compass with that if you wear a compass on your watch or something like that. And, in a true survival situation, you can turn your watch into something to tell direction with. So
yeah, it's just useful to have that.
So yeah, let's first, before I kind of dump everything out of our pockets and walk through what we have, I wanted to talk briefly about kind of the leveling up philosophy behind EDC too. And, we've written an article about this on ITS, and we'll reference that in the episode intel from this episode. But the article we talked about was leveling up your EDC. So we talked about 4 different levels. Level 1 would be what's in your pockets. Level 2 would be like a bag that you carry, whether it's a backpack or a messenger bag or something to support your work. Then you've got your vehicle, which is level 3, and then level 4 would be your home or your dwelling. So the purpose of these levels is to get you to the next level. So level 1, what's in your pockets, should be able to sustain you through immediate threats or imminent threats and get you to the next level, which is your bag, whether it's on you or not. The idea there is to use the contents of your bag or your backpack to level up to your vehicle.
Kind of add a few more things
exactly.
as you go.
Right, exactly. So yes, you may have some duplicated content between what's in your pockets and what's in your bag, but your bag kind of enables you to carry those bigger items that definitely won't fit in your pockets.
Yeah, you don't want to be carrying whatever is too big for your pocket
right
about. And depending on, especially when you get to trauma kits and things like that, full-size trauma kits won't fit really in your back pocket.
Yeah, I like to say that, what's in your pocket should allow you to fight to your bag, and what's in your bag should allow you to fight to your vehicle, and what's in your vehicle should allow you to get your ass home.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the philosophy behind that. So, and then the stuff in your vehicle, you should be able to survive for a certain period of time, in my opinion. I feel like I should have blankets and things like that. And these levels, since we're just talking about level 1 today with EDC or what's in our pockets, we're going to get into a little more broad stroke with the different levels and get into the bags and vehicles and what's in your house later on too. I think those will make excellent topics to kind of progress with.
And I think a lot of this is more common sense stuff too, like having a good winter kit in your vehicle.
Exactly.
It's not just about survival. It's about if you run off the road or somebody runs you off the road or something and it's snowing. I mean, we don't get a ton of snow in Texas, but just being ready for that is...
Well, we do get tornadoes, and there's situations where people have had to bunker down in their vehicles under bridges and wait for tornadoes to pass.
It might not be the end of the world survival scenario, but having, something to eat is nice.
Exactly. I just want a snack.
Yeah. You don't want to find yourself stuck with no supplies.
Yep. And then the whole home situation on level 4, to me, you're more than likely going to wind up in a situation where you're bugging in than bugging out. So we'll talk about the philosophy behind that too in future episodes. But
got some good stuff coming.
Oh yeah, definitely good stuff. So let's take out what's in our pockets, and I want to work through
just everything.
Everything.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, since we're
You're going to start with certain things?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about things as I take them out.
Okay.
So I carry a little mini Bic lighter.
Mini Bic.
Mini Bic lighter.
See, I don't have a lighter.
You don't have a lighter?
Mm-mm.
I see your lighter and raise you a challenge coin.
I don't have one of those.
Oh
man, I'm running late
today. You're in
today.
for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I carry our ITS challenge coin. We got a little mini Bic, and then I carry the
titanium pocket tool.
Yeah.
Now I have one of those on my keychain. I'm not going to pull my keychain out because this is the internet, and we have an article on imaging a key from a photo. So I don't want to.
Yeah, the titanium pocket tool is what I carry, and that's the little utility knife I was mentioning,
which is great for opening boxes.
And I like to kind of use this one-handed, so I can just open.
And
a
I
box
have something
really
similar from Spyderco. It's just a tiny little knife. That's what I use as my box cutter.
Okay.
Which is super handy, like you said, for like more often than not, it's going to get tape and gunk and all that.
Pulled out chapstick. I'm gonna have to pull out my chapstick.
I've switched to this Burt's Bees because it doesn't dry your lips out.
I have switched to Climb On chapstick because it's dual purpose.
What's the second purpose?
To act as the stuff I put on my hands to keep them from cracking.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually
so. It's actually
cool.
the same stuff because Climb On was developed as a product for climbers to kind of moisturize hands. So it's not like a lotion. It's like a lotion bar.
So it doesn't give you the greasiness of the lotion?
I mean, it does for a brief period of time, but it's very short-lived.
Okay.
So it's the same material in this chapstick that's in that. So if I'm getting cuts to my fingers if I'm out in the cold, I can use that to put on my hands too.
That's cool.
In addition to my lips.
I wouldn't have thought about that. Yeah. That's good. Do you have a pen?
I do.
I have the TI bolt.
You have the TI bolt. The Fel, I'm going to say
Fellow
his name
Welter.
wrong. Oh, really?
Brian Fellowelter.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you know how to pronounce that. I would have screwed that up.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah. I've met Brian a few times, but I know I would screw his name up. I'm carrying a Mont Blanc pen.
I like that.
It's a pen that I really like. I think it's called the M series pen, but it's like a polymer body pen. And the reason I bought it is because of the refill. So they call it some type of artistic refill, and I can put that in the episode intel. But it's a very thin writing pen, and that's really what I like. I think the certain inks are too, I don't know.
Yep.
I like to maximize my note-taking space, and I can do that with a
when you carry
pen.
tiny little notebooks.
Yeah. So what kind of notebook do you have
This is
there?
the Write in the Rain. We have these. Sometimes we throw them in orders when we're running specials and stuff. It's the little memo book.
Our little ITS edition.
Yeah, but it's just got a grid, which is nice in case I'm doing drawings. Sometimes I'll do like home improvement stuff, and I'll draw out sketches, and I like that it has measurements too.
So I use a notebook from Nockco.
I really like those.
That's what I'm using right now.
Yeah.
And the reason I like them is because it's got grid squares on it. So I'm a big fan of kind of that grid.
That's awesome.
For writing, because I like to draw sometimes too if I'm sketching something out. So
it helps to have boundaries.
Yep.
So
that's my notebook. I carry that in my back pocket.
I try to keep a little bit of cash on me.
Look at that.
Yeah. Whenever
I have to remember that when I.
Well, there's so many times when people are like, "Do you have any cash?" I'm like, "No, and just a couple bucks."
I carry cash in my wallet. I always have a 20 in there.
That's a good idea.
And that's really kind of the extent of the cash that I carry on me. I know that's a bad habit, but. That's just.
And so you have a Bellroy wallet?
I have a Bellroy card. I think it's called a card something.
Borderline Costanza.
Yeah, no,
it's really flexing.
I max it out. It's terrible. I have way too many cards in here. I carry business cards in here too, which usually maxes it out. But
what's your limit on business cards? Do you carry like 3?
Yeah, I carry like 3.
I try to carry like 3.
Yeah.
I have a Saddleback, just a bifold wallet.
Also, little note here on business cards. Like I carry 2 regular ITS business cards that just have a link to the website, and then I carry like one of my personal cards that
it's depending on what card you want to give out.
yeah, depending on how well I know you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and then
you carry a Bellroy wallet too?
No, this is Saddleback. Yeah, just their standard bifold wallet.
Yeah.
I recently
and I do switch sometimes with our Hypalon concealment wallet. It just depends on what I'm doing. So that's kind of an upgrade for me because it is a little bit bigger as a wallet size. So.
Well, and also if you want to carry any type of tools and stuff, which is
nice. So the premise behind our Hypalon concealment wallet is you can carry basically an array of different lock picks and tools for escape and evasion in the wallet. And that's kind of how we built it. So I'm really not a big advocate of our company today by not carrying one, but hey, I do switch back and forth.
But it's realistic.
But I have an ITS challenge coin. You don't even have a challenge coin.
I don't even have that. This is the only branded thing I currently have.
So that means you're buying drinks later.
Yes, exactly.
I just coin checked.
I got coin checked.
We can get into the history behind challenge coins in an episode one of these days too. So I will, since I have one of the Key Smart devices, I will pull out my keychain.
Yep.
While hiding
every facet.
While hiding my big key to my FJ.
Yeah.
So that's what I carry my keys in.
I love that because there's no jingle.
Yeah. That's a big pain for me is the jingle of keys and the bulk in my pocket. So this helps keep my keys a little more streamlined. And I only have about 6 keys in this thing, and I also have a little USB stick, which Apple is...
That comes in handy more and more, though.
Yeah.
Like needing a flash drive and stuff.
Now that Apple has kind of moved on to their new computers, who knows what's going to happen with USB-C, but...
Living that dongle life.
Yeah, dongle life.
This I recently added because of the article you wrote about your Telluric Group class, so I picked up a Streamlight. This is the ProTac 1L 1AA. This huge name. I feel like they could have named it a little differently. And you have the 2L?
I have the 2L.
Yeah.
So, in comparison, it's a little bit longer.
I like that yours is just a little bit thinner, though, too, which I like.
Yes, it is.
And they've recently done the 10-tap programming stuff, which I think is huge. I love the 10-tap.
Yep.
Because I hate the modes on flashlights, especially for an EDC light.
Well, and that's what kind of John Lovell, the instructor from Telluric Group, brought up in the class. We were talking about all these applications of white light, and I went into a pretty lengthy discussion on white light and why you should have it for even defensive purposes on one of the gear tasting episodes, which we'll link in the episode in case you're interested in that info. But won't delve too much into it on this episode of Gear Tasting Radio. But I do carry a flashlight, and see, my philosophy behind that changed significantly in the last couple of weeks because I went to that Telluric Group class where we learned about night vision and how to use it. And, John really hit on the points of using bright white light as a diversionary tactic. And it's something
really
I knew.
it's
something I knew about, but it just really clicked with me in that class. He presented it such a great way that I immediately was like, hey, do you guys sell these flashlights? Because I'm buying one.
Yeah.
It's 250 lumens. You get hit in the face with 250 lumens, you're going to rethink what you were doing a little bit.
But, I mean, it hurts.
Yeah.
It literally hurts your eyes. And, maybe somebody wouldn't stop, but it's going to change what's going on in their face region.
Well, even that couple of seconds of temporary blindness can get you off the X, so to speak, and into a better shooting position or something like that. So,
well, I've discharged, a white light directly into my eye before, and you get a little spot, as you're moving around.
Don't look into the light.
Yeah.
So that's flashlights. Let me think what else. So I got my EDC trauma kit on me. These are
you're just rocking the ITS branded stuff, and I'm coming up short.
I kind of fell flat on the wallet thing, so this is our EDC trauma kit. What's in here is a pack of combat gauze, a pair of gloves, and a soft T wide tourniquet. So we have a full size tourniquet. It's all vacuum sealed in a nice little pocket-sized kit that fits in your back pocket, and that's what I carry on me for trauma and medical purposes.
That's awesome.
So, think of what else I got on me. Oh, got my knife. So my defensive knife is a Emerson A100, and that is what I carry on here.
Yep. And so I have a
full of dust
from ESEE. I've really been.
So you have a fixed blade knife.
Yeah. So
okay.
I've been carrying this on my belt.
A100 is a folder.
I love that knife too, and that was another article that I read from you was the defensive knife opening boxes. So that made me want to seek out kind of a bigger knife that I could have. I'd take it camping, which is nice because if you need to do fire starting or anything like that. But
so do you use it for things like that?
I use like the back of it for like striking. I haven't used the blade for anything.
Striking a ferro rod to start a fire? Cool.
Which is super. I like to try to practice that when I'm camping.
I do that every time.
Get the reps in.
Absolutely.
Don't go to the Bic. That's admitting failure.
Are you talking crap about my Bic that I have? Yeah. I always carry a little bit of change, too, in my pocket. I've got a random smattering of change, in case I have to use a payphone.
You never know.
Yeah. And then I have my phone, obviously. So I have So I carry an iPhone 7 Plus, and one of the reasons I upgraded, the major reason that I upgraded, is not only because the camera was better, and I take a ton of photos with my camera on my phone just for what we do at ITS with articles and stuff.
Yep.
In some ways, it rivals the DSLR, so
Yeah.
love it. But the main reason is because it's waterproof.
Yep.
So that was a huge deal to me,
Yep.
and as someone who's dropped my phone into the toilet while taking a piss in the morning, I really needed that
'Cause who
waterproof
doesn't that
feature.
happen
Yeah,
to you?
I mean,
Yeah.
come on. At least I'm man enough to admit it, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a huge upgrade. The reason for upgrading for me was that. Yeah, so that's phones. What do you have for a phone?
I've got the iPhone 7, so I did the
Regular old 7?
Yep. And I'm running caseless right now, so we'll see how long that
I
goes.
couldn't do it. I tried.
got the insurance.
I
though,
tried.
So
So
it
let's
is what it is.
let's talk cases for a second too. So that's how I tried to start running it, and I just found it slid around too much.
It
was
is very slippery.
Yeah, very slippery. So I put the leather case on it that Apple makes, and I like it because it gives it some, I don't know, not only a little bit more rigidity, but it just kind of gives you
texture.
some texture and something to hold. So I also have a silicone case for it that I use if I'm going to a class or something where I know
Gotcha.
that there's a possibility of me screwing it up, and
Yeah.
it's going to be around sweat or wet conditions or moisture. I'll put a silicone case on it.
That's a good idea.
Just so I don't, not that the leather really gets screwed up, but just in case.
Don't want to chance it.
Yeah. And then I also carry.
We will point these downrange.
Point it in a safe direction, but not taking it out of the holster. But I carry a SIG or a SIG. See,
You're so patterned. Yeah,
it's only been a couple years since I switched to a Glock, but I still talk about SIG. Anyway, so a Glock 43 is what I carry, and it's in a Haley Strategic Incog holster, which I love. By the way, it's one of my favorite holsters, if not the favorite holster that I have right now. So, and I don't carry a spare magazine. I know a lot of
don't either.
people.
and I probably should,
Yeah, but
because when I think
so
about
yeah,
it,
6 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, and
Yep.
it's always ready to go.
Yep.
So that's
and I
how
carry
I
the 42, which is a 380. So I even more should carry a spare magazine with having a lesser caliber. But I'll usually
You still fit 7 in the 42, right?
So I think it's 7+1. I have a mag
Okay.
extension that's
Yeah.
inside the magazine, so it gives me an extra one. So it's 7+1. So I have a total of 8.
Yep.
But like we said, that's that line you have to draw. That I don't have physical room, and I've been looking for a good IWB mag carrier, maybe that goes in the belt or something like that. But when you start to put all this stuff in your pockets, you start to get into the weight issue of
Yeah, this is a lot of stuff laid out on the table right
dragging
now.
your pants down.
I also have, we can count sunglasses in here.
Yep.
They were just laying on the table, so I'll count those. I wear gaiters typically, and they are polarized. I like polarized glasses just because when I'm driving in the rain and things like that, it helps cut down on the glare from the road. And,
Definitely.
I prefer I put sunglasses on when it's overcast and rainy and cloudy, just because I feel like it increases my depth perception a little bit.
Yeah.
That's me personally. Not everyone's like that.
Well,
I've
and you're
read some
used to it.
contrasting opinions for that, so
So it'd be weird if you didn't have them on.
Yes.
It'd be a little odd. Yeah.
it would. And then, I have my watch on, and I have my wrist. I'm wearing right now, today, I'm wearing a Resco Black Frog that I was gifted from muster attendees. It was pretty much the coolest gift I've ever received. And I use one of our ITS edition Prometheus Design Works Expedition watchband compasses. That's what I have on here. And I really like this compass a
That's
whole
a great
lot.
combo.
I love it.
It matches up really well.
And I did have to take, because I have this on another watch that I wore to that Telluric group class, and I had to remove my watch compass because it was glowing in the dark, and under night vision, it's like a beacon.
I've had that with some loom on the watches
Yeah.
at Muster. It's
Yeah.
like you need a cover for it.
Well, I wear a G-Shock too a lot, and that
You just
didn't-
can't
that
beat the
didn't have
G-Shock.
any loom, so
Yep.
it didn't have anything to
Yeah.
deal about that. Yeah, I swear by G-Shocks too, man. I've worn one almost my
I find
Full
no matter what I'm
adult
doing,
life.
it's like if I have any doubt, I'm like, I'll just take the G-Shock. I don't
Yeah.
want to
Exactly.
risk.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have a watch go down. I've been using the Apple Watch. It's kind of blasphemous.
I know I give you crap about that, but
It's just super useful, especially for work. If I'm going camping or something like that, I won't take it because it really doesn't offer me anything. But day to day, as I'm working on the computer and stuff, it just offers little pings and reminders and timers and stuff. But yeah, I like to switch up watches occasionally. This makes it more difficult though because you do start to miss kind of the notifications. You're like, what's going on with my phone right now?
So I also have just a memorial band that I wear on my wrist. This is something that we came up with in partnership with Hero Bracelets. This is kind of our ITS thing. We came up with this in memory of our fallen phrase to kind of remember everybody. One of the challenges from my service in the Navy, I've had multiple guys that I've known in the service that have been killed overseas, and this was my way of kind of remembering everybody in one bracelet rather than wearing a bracelet for every person. So that was kind of our thing. And then, of course, my wedding ring, which you don't have one of those.
Not yet.
But yeah, that's kind of a look at our EDC. That's what we wanted to go through on this episode. Just, kind of talking about.
This is level 1.
Yeah. So maybe there's some things in here that we talked about that might help you rethink what you're carrying. And if not, cool. But, if you've got suggestions for things that you want to hear about on the podcast with gear tasting, anything that you want to add to the EDC philosophy that we've mentioned, feel free to leave a comment. Hit us up at any way you can. We're on a lot of social media out there.
Just hold your hand up and we'll come by.
That's right. So thanks for tuning in.